course, but we couldn't help but notice the crutches that you came in on there. What happened? You said you came into this with an injury?
Yeah, it's just it was like the same. Does this work? Oh, this work? Yeah. It's like the same before I was meant to fight Cowboy. Last week, my knee just completely gave out and I tore it. I didn't know how bad, because as soon as it happened, I just, sort of just tried to block it out. Everything this week, it was just one more thing on it, and so then it wasn't really hurting in the fight, but now it's just throbbing me, and it's stiffening up a bit. I'll be okay in a few days, but I'll see what's up with it, and I'll get it a little bit checked out.
What happened? Did you take a strike to the knee, or did you step on it?
I was sparring. It was probably my best day of sparring. I was just on fire, and I just got a bit overwhelmed, and as I threw a leg kick, one of my sparring partners, Chris, stepped in, so my knee sort of stopped on his leg, but my leg wrapped around it, and so my knee it gave out. It's the same knee that I'd done before Cowboy. It's just problems, but listen, I'm not pulling out a no fight for nothing. I'm just not. If Kelvin would have got the victory there tonight, you wouldn't have seen me sat here talking about injuries or jet lag or visa problems. It's, as I've always said, I'm honest. I'm from the heart, and you either win or you lose, and that man who wins on that night is the better man.
You said all the right things when we spoke to you yesterday. Everything's good. But now that you're here, can you be honest? I mean, not knowing, especially not knowing you had a knee injury, but not knowing if you have a visa, if you're going to be able to get over here, the late flight. I mean, how tough was the final week in these last couple of days?
Do you want me to be brutally honest?
Please.
It was like I don't know. I can't even explain it, because I'm waiting next door at the embassy in London, and it's just every day that going by is I don't know if I'm getting a visa, and I know that Dana and the guys, they had everyone. I think Dana spoke to Trump about me. I mean, that's I didn't know. There was times when I thought this fight's not happening, and that I know there was a lot given over the weight cut video with Kelvin and that, but Kelvin probably just thought, fuck this, I'm gonna eat some shit because he's not turning up. You know what I mean? And there was times when I just wanted to do it myself, and so there was that, and then there was I knew there was going to be jet lag, and I knew there was going to be water retention for weight cut, and I didn't know if the fight was happening, and I had a few injuries, and it's just that didn't mean anything to me. I wanted to just get in there. I didn't want to win. I didn't want to lose. I just wanted to be in there, and I don't even know. I can't say anything. It's I've been invincible all my life. I know my skill set I've got. I know I can beat any guy in any division. I know that with my skill set. You've seen that tonight. Number 4, Kelvin, look at the guys he's knocking out. I know it wasn't the most exciting fight, but he didn't touch me. He just simply didn't touch me. And that's no disrespect to him. That just shows my skill set. But, before Woodley, there was no one guy who could beat me. And then 2 losses like that, it just took a lot away from me, inside of me. I didn't say it, but I fought some hard demons. And then obviously stuff with getting arrested, and then there's other things, and you lose sponsors. It's like a fucking whirlwind, and it's good and it's bad, and it's, you know what I mean? So just to get in there tonight, I tell you, I was trying to fake an injury before walking out. I was thinking of an injury to fake, because I just simply did not want to get in there. And this is probably things that fighters don't talk about, but me, I'm honest, and that's just where I was at. Now I'm here, confidence is back. Fuck all these middleweights, I'm coming for everything. It's back.
I was going to say, with all the confidence that we know you have, you had some pretty honest quotes afterwards that you said you were fearful getting in there, and a little bit afraid. So has that been rectified at this point, or do you think that's something you're going to have to deal with every time?
Every fight, no matter what any fighter will ever tell you, they will be scared. If they tell you they're not, it's a blatant lie. But this fight, I wasn't scared. I was terrified. I wasn't shaking, but I just didn't want to go. The magnitude of the event, everything. I was doubting. I was thinking of ways to get out of the fight. This was only today, and I'm just so scared. And then the first round's over, I'm like, Darren, come on, pull yourself together. And I was like, okay, now we're gonna win this fight the way we planned. We're not gonna let him touch you, and you're gonna win it on whatever. I knew it would be hard to knock him out. I know I've got the power, but I know he's a tough cookie, and that's just how it is. The fighters might not say it, but I'll always say it, whether it's good or bad. I've been criticised in the past or whatever, but that's where I was at today. As soon as I woke up.
Last thing for me, I mean, you jumped into the deep end of the division, right? Dana was in here just now, and he said, guessing he probably thinks that puts you top 6 or so in the division. I mean, where do you feel like you go here when you beat somebody that high ranked to start with? Where do you go next?
I don't know. I really don't know. I've said this. I should have said it on the mic maybe, but years ago, Israel, before I was already like sort of at the top, before I was fighting Willie, and he identified as like the fight that was going to happen with me and him. And I want that fight for legacy. You know, I've spoke about Anfield, my hometown, the Liverpool Football Club, and that's a legacy fight for me. You know, I've said this before here on these tables. Forget the belt. Obviously, if me and him fight, the belt's up. But it's the fight with me and him that I know it's gonna be. It will, honestly, I swear to God, like I get goosebumps thinking about it. And you know, if it's that, it's done. If it's something else, it's something else. And listen, I ain't afraid of no one, no weight division, none of them.
Darren, just over here, Robert Whittaker is keen to come back to action as soon as possible. I'm just wondering, what would you think of a matchup with a guy like Rob?
Yeah, I think it's terrific fight. You know, but we're both like strikers. I don't know really who wins in the wrestling department. No one can take me down and keep me down. That's simple. I've just moved up to middleweight, and you got Kelvin, who's an unbelievable grappler. He took me down twice, 3 times, but he couldn't keep me there. There's no man keeping me down. So, you know, I don't know where it goes. But, as I say, confidence lacking, confidence high. I believe I beat them all. I do. I truly believe with me, the way I know I can train and my mindset is and my skill set, I can beat them all.
A lot of people sort of talking about Yoel Romero possibly getting this
Oh,
title.
fuck that guy. Well, I don't want to ever fight him. He's a beast.
I was going to ask you, he's coming off a loss.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying you're now coming off a win. I mean, logically, don't you think it makes sense for you to fight?
Listen, not makes sense anymore. We've just seen the 2 gangsters fight for the BMF belt. You know, I'm gutted the way it ended. You know, I wanted to see a 5-round war. It was a good fight while it lasted, but anything's possible. 3 losses. After I was coming off 2 and they put me in with Kelvin, anything's possible. Anything's possible. If it's Joel, if they wait for Costa, if it's someone else more deserving of myself, so be it. And then if it's me at the end of it, you know, I'm not gonna say no. You know what I mean? There's a few watches I want to buy, so it's a payday as well. So let's do it. But for now, I'm so thrilled just to be in this. You know, I just co-main evented at 26 years of age at Madison Square Garden. You know, I'm doing things that I never thought would be possible.
And just last one from me, Israel Adesanya obviously here this week. I'm just wondering, did you get a chance to speak to him at all? You guys have a lot of respect for each other. Have you run into each other at all?
We always chat on Instagram messages. I send a few memes and that. Like, he's a cool guy. And you know, it's the same thing what I said about Masvidal. 100% of me is happy for what he's doing. A few people have said like, oh, you're not angry because of what he's doing now and stuff. But when he fought me, it wasn't Till versus Masvidal. It was the Darren Till show in London. That's what it was. And then he took that from me. And the only thing inside of me now is to be there now, you know, getting all this attention. And so, you know, Israel, me and him are good, but we're going to fight. And we're going to try and take each other out. And maybe one day fight Masvidal again, get that a big rematch. He just told me in the lobby that he'd move up to middleweight. You know, I'm a scary middleweight now. I'm not cutting no weight.
Darren, you got 15 minutes. Oh, here. You got 15 minutes of experience fighting at middleweight. Overall, performance-wise, how'd you feel fighting 15 pounds heavier?
I don't really know. It didn't seem like much. Kelvin, he felt like the same amount of strength as Woodley when he had me against the cage, but I was turning him. But I do like sometimes to be on the cage. I like to think, and I know I'm very good in my defence, but I'm sure there's guys, as I said about Yoel, who I'll feel it a lot more if I ever fight some guy like him or stuff, but I feel like I'm at the right weight. Everyone looks at me now, you know, I'm no welterweight. It's just simple, you know. You can size a guy up and you can look at me from my build, but it's also my legs. My legs are humongous, so I'm just no welterweight. You know, I'm a middleweight. I'm probably not the biggest or the strongest, but you know that doesn't mean everything in a fight. You know, extra 15 pounds, it doesn't really mean a lot. To me, it's all about skill set.
Was the weight cut difficult? I mean, is there? Can you put on more weight? Because you did say how you felt like he was a bit stronger than you.
Yeah, I feel like I misjudged it, but I feel like the flight just had me, it got me, because when I got off the plane, when I looked at the scales, I expected a certain weight, and it was like 2.5, wasn't it? Over what I was expecting, and I was like, oh fuck, like I can't be dealing with this welterweight cut again. Fuck that. So it was funny because then it was like 4 o'clock and they were saying to do this and that. I was like, fuck all that, I'm here to cut weight and fight. So I went, I cut weight, and I got all my weight off. There was like 1.5 kilos, 2 kilos left, and I said, okay, I'm gonna rest for a few hours and then I'll do my last little bit. And it wasn't a struggle. It wasn't. The next time will be better. But there's been a lot of shit this week. So the weight cuts, knees, all that shit, it doesn't really fucking mean anything. Fighters might say it. Fighters might make excuses and that, but I'm not about that life. You know what I mean? I get in there to fight and win or lose. The man who wins is always the better man. That's how I see it.
And fans, media, and many people weren't really too happy when this matchup was first announced. They thought maybe it was a little too much for you. Do you think people forgot about your skill set and maybe made too much about your losses?
People forget that Stephen Thompson just took Vincente to town, and they forget what I done to Thompson. Now you can think, well, you didn't do anything, but I played him in his own game. Whether you say I won or he won, I played Stephen Thompson, considered one of the best strikers in mixed martial arts, at his own game. Nearly stopped him in the 5th. So people forget. People forget all of that. Do you know what I mean? And then they're thinking, oh, Darren just goes in there to knock him out. They forget about my IQ and my skill set. So, tonight they remembered. But there's always going to be all that shite. You just, as I say, the good and the bad, you just have to deal with it. But I got like a nice feeling inside of me because of how many people doubted me and how many people I know who don't think I know doubted me and stuff like that. It's very rewarding.
Darren, congratulations for getting back in the winning ways. Your friend, the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, the lineal heavyweight champion, has recently stated he wants to get back into MMA.
Yeah.
He's been calling out Stipe, Francis Ngannou. Francis is exchanging barbs with him. Let's be real. You're a realistic guy. Does he have a chance to winning in MMA if he competes?
Tyson's my boy. He's proper my boy. We're under the same the same management. Any guy gets in there tries to strike with Tyson. I had one of my sparring partners, a heavyweight, Tom, even said to me, he said Tyson is untouchable. He's just so good. But then you have to bring all these other factors in, takedowns and kicks and stuff. I just believe in a little bit of training, yeah. So if he wants to train with me or Connor, whatever be, you're going to train with me, obviously, because we're MTK for life. But I think people want to say things, he's in WWE and that and all that, but look what he's making. He's massive in America now, and he's making this big name, and he's making money for his family, and he's a clever man. And you gotta always go back to that Deontay Wilder fight, a guy who's only 15 stone, how hard he punches at that weight, and Tyson just gets up from the dead. So he'd do well. He fights Stipe, Francis. My money's on Tyson, but he definitely needs to know, and I'll tell him myself that he's got to learn some certain things. MMA is different from boxing.
Lastly, Sweet Caroline, your walkout music, very unique song choice. What's going through your mind when you hear Sweet Caroline? Bum, bum, bum.
Do you know what? I'm going to tell you the brutally honest truth now is I got an email 5 days ago from the girl who does the walkouts, and I just wasn't bothered about that or anything, as I said. And she asked what music I would be walking out to, and I didn't reply. And then just before walking out, then recalling, I said, "Call." I forgot. I didn't want to come out to Sweet Caroline. I just didn't want to come out to it. I don't know why. I just had fears, anything. And it come on, and I just couldn't even believe how many people were cheering for me. And then it was just on. I was like, okay, this is good. But I don't think I'll ever relive that moment from when I fought in Liverpool. We'll see. Anfield's definitely the next place I'm fighting. That's the next place next year. It's going to happen. I know it's going to happen, but Sweet Caroline's the one. You know that.
Darren, where do you rate this in your career moments? Obviously, you headlined Liverpool. This is MSG. What for you is the big the big highlight of your career so far?
Everything, the highs and the lows, the losses, the wins, the controversy, everything. But when I want to sit down, when I retire, when I'm 35, I want like to have sold out Anfield and won a UFC title. That's the goal. All other things are important, but that's the goal. And right now, in my mind, I can see Anfield happening. I just can. I just can see it visually now, right now when I speak.
And how much would that mean to you to get that dream?
I'm from Liverpool. Liverpool's a very iconic city. The guys in New York, and they speak to me as well, and I say I'm from Liverpool. They know the place. And I've sold out the arena there already, the Echo Arena. First ever guy in combat sports to do that. Was the first ever guy. And I'll be the first guy to do it at Anfield. There's a boxer, we've got a boxer from Liverpool, Callum Smith, and he's scheduled to fight there next year. But that's boxing. I'm MMA, so when he sells it out, and as I say, I'll be 100% happy for him, and then I'll sell it out in MMA. That's the goal right now.
Darren, do you know the severity of your knee injury?
Sorry?
Do you know the severity of the knee injury at the moment?
It's I just since Cowboy, I've just sort of put it to the back of my mind, and I wrestle. I do everything with it, everything. I stretch it, put it behind my head, everything. I'm a flexible guy, but now it's swelled up a little bit, and this is what I always do. I'll ice it, and then when it feels good, okay, fuck that. So I'm probably gonna leave it, to be honest with you. Most fighters now feeling this right now will probably get surgery, but this is not a telltale for fighters anyway to kick me, because I can take low kicks. Trust me, ex-Muay Thai fighter, but we'll see. It's not that bad.
And obviously you got a win on the big stage against the number 4 ranked middleweight. As people said, a lot of people were doubting you going into this. Do you feel that you silenced the doubters tonight?
Yeah, I do. I always talk about doubters, and I feel like I've been being doubted a lot of me. Like, I've only been in MMA for like 7 years, 8 years. That's not a long time, and I'm 26, and as I say, sometimes you look what people write about you and what people say, and what messages you receive, and what people they think you don't know what they're saying, and just the doubt that comes out of them, it drives me on, and I feel like, as I always say, the good and bad in life, that's the bad, because it is really bad, and it's hard to take millions of people putting you down. Even though I know in myself how good my skill set is, and any one of them couldn't stand 10 seconds with me, but it drills a hole in your head, and it can affect you. And not that only affected me for this fight, just everything, coming off the losses I was coming off, and how invincible I thought I was before that. I know I'm still the greatest, but I know I've got to work at that, and now I'm just so thrilled. I don't really care about the win or whatever. I'm just so thrilled to be here. I really am. I've come back from a lot, and I don't speak about it much, but I really have. I've built myself back up.